Hello, welcome to the BiG Scuba Show.
So, hello everyone. My name is Agnieszka Hrynkiewicz and I'm a sales and marketing director at Santi in Gdynia, and I'm here for the BiG Scuba Podcast with Ian and Gemma to discuss Santi and to discuss diving in Poland and in the rest of the world with Santi Diving.
Today's episode is sponsored by Narked at 90, so let's find out a bit more about them. Narked at 90, their tagline has been beyond technical, which describes them pretty well. John Routley and Brent Hudson launched the company over 20 years ago. They are both technical divers who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives between them over a 30-year period. Using their engineering know-how and diving expertise, have developed bespoke, personal, commercial and military diving equipment and products of a universally recognised, unparalleled calibre.
Their ability to be adaptive and versatile with their developments led them to support the NHS during COVID. Using their superior knowledge of breathing and oxygen monitoring systems to help develop emergency ventilators. They also design and supply the sneaky stuff used by defence-based development groups throughout the Western world, although they can't tell us much about that. If you're thinking of moving across to tech diving or completely new to diving, Narked at 90 can advise and guide on the best equipment and setup for your personal or commercial requirements. Narked at 90 have unparalleled experience of shearwater dive computers and are the longest serving and sole and UK European service centre for those. They are happy to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades to all shearwater computers, past and present. Narked at 90 stock shearwater computers, but are also stockists and technical support centre for many other manufacturers, including Divesoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss Rebreathers.
Based centrally in the UK, Narked at 90 also offer full rebreather head servicing for selected manufacturers.
Bespoke cable assemblies.
Advice on specific fitting requirements.
Suggestions and guidance for home builds.
Computer laser cutting and engraving.
Pressure testing to simulate 400-metre dives.
So, Narked at 90, a reputation built on supporting both manufacturers and divers worldwide.
Go to narkedat90.com and make sure you are following their social media to keep up to date with their latest news and offers.
Narked at 90, large enough to cope, small enough to care.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the BiG Scuba Podcast. This is episode 158. I am the dive master for this episode. My name is Ian, and with me is...
Hello, I'm co-host Gemma. Hello.
Hello. So yes, after a small hiatus, we are back recording in the studios of Bungay and Pakefield.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a summer break because we've been quite busy with trips away, diving, and just summer life.
We've been in the water.
We
in the water, on the water, and basically having fun. So if you are new to this podcast, we want to say welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for lending us your ears for this next, 45 minutes to an hour, thereabouts. If you're wondering what all this is all about and what we're going to be talking about, well, briefly, we talk about scuba diving. We talk to people who've been doing some great things underwater, exploring, or they've got some kind of connection to the water. And we dive. I'm a dive master. Gemma is building up her wonderful experience under the water.
Yes.
And as a rescue diver, aren't you?
I'm a rescue diver now. I'm an advanced open water diver and a rescue diver now. So I've logged just over 80 dives now.
Yeah. And so you're catching us on episode 158. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever,
Spotify,
go back. There's a whole plethora of different
you're full of words
of different episodes where we spoke to all sorts of people, from astronauts, explorers,
Artists.
Yes, we've spoke to people in the services, SAS, people who clear in mines,
And people just from everyday walks of life that just love scuba diving.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Our guest list is very varied, and I think even if you're not a diver, you could listen to it and take something away from it.
Do you know what the best bit is? Well, one of
that?
the best bits. It's all free.
Yeah, I know,
It's
amazing.
It's all free.
Yeah.
And we rattle on about diving and stuff like that, and and it's all good. And that's it, really. But we do have one lovely sponsor who help us with all these things, and it does help pay for some of the bills in making and covering all this. And that is our lovely friends over at Narked at 90.
Yes, yeah. So Narked at 90, they are a big name in the technical world of diving and normal diving as well. Yeah. But they're well established. So if you are a technical diver, you should have heard of Narked at 90.
Yes.
So they do lots of servicing on rebreathers, dive computers, and they're there to give loads of advice. Yeah, they're very friendly people.
They are, and they have got a great name in customer services. So if there's any issues that you've got with your rebreather, maybe you're thinking about getting it in twin sets, anything like that, give them a call, have a chat with them, tell them what you think about doing. Or if say you've got you've built a rebreather, some people do.
Yeah, the home builds.
Some people do. And Brent and John, they've been there, they've done it, they wrote the book on them. So then a lot they don't know. So
no, that's right. So yeah, but they've got a website, narkedat90.com, so you can contact them via email or even give them a call. They're UK based.
And we want to say, because Brent has recently had a mishap, and we wanted to say a very speedy recovery from us.
Yeah, it's good that he's doing well. So
he is. He's on the road to recovery. Come on, Brent.
Yeah.
Back to it. Right. Yeah. So coming up on this episode,
we've got
some news, which is great. We're going to have a bit of a recap over where we've been, what we've been up to. And also we'll give you a bit of a heads up about who is coming up in the near future, because we're kind of now back. We're back to recording, and where's the summer holidays gone?
I know, although we've not been recording, we've been still working in the background and planning, the rest of the year, which has been quite exciting. So, but yeah, I think we filled our summer quite well.
Okay. So go back. I think one of the last times we recorded, we were about to be heading out to Stony Cove, and unfortunately my car let us down. That didn't quite happen. But we've moved on from that, and that's all good.
Yeah, and then we headed to the Farne Islands, and that was late July.
Yeah, so if you're not listening to us in the UK, and you think, hey, where's the Farne Islands? What's all that about? Well, the Farne Islands, if you look at the UK, and you look towards the east coast, at the north part, right just before the border of Scotland, if you're looking at us on the map, you'll see some little tiny islands out to sea, and that's where the Farne Islands are.
Yeah, so it's a collection of, I think, 24 to 40-ish islands, depending on high tide, low tide, and they're famous. There are wrecks around there, but they're famous for the wildlife and seals.
Lots of puffins as well.
Yeah, lots of marine life, amazing diving. Not particularly deep. I think we got down to 18 meters on one of our dives when we were there. But yeah, we saw some seals, but yeah, just amazing.
I'd say probably one of the average depths around there is probably about sort of 14 meters. I guess, generally. Yeah. And we can get shallower, but pretty good.
So we went on a trip organised by our local dive centre, Crystal Seas, and we dived with Sovereign Diving on Serenity boat one day, and then we had Rod, our previous skipper, back, didn't we? So he looked after us. Ron
named him.
Ron. Thinking fishing.
He does Ron. You do Ron.
Yeah, so we had 3 days diving and 2 dives per day. So we did 6 dives successfully in the Farne Islands, which was brilliant. Yeah, the weather was amazing. You did your diving in the O3 semi-dry. I
Absolutely.
with my dry suit. Yeah, and we also dived. We did one dive in a half mask standard setup, and then we used our Ocean Reef full face masks for the second dive.
Yeah, because we're building our experience, aren't we?
Yes, and that was a little bit of a sort of more hours on the masks, and we took them a little bit deeper. So that was the deepest we'd been in them, wasn't it? So yeah, and that was all successful. So
yeah, that's all good, you know, and it's nice. And we've also been playing with our camera setups as well, haven't we?
Yes, yeah, that's come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, you used to have your Olympus just kind of clipped to, didn't you?
Yeah, so it was free, you know, as I held it in one hand. But since that point in time, you've invested in a Sea Life camera case, so you can take your mobile phone underneath.
I got that mainly for Honey, for Scuba Honey, for when she's ready for it. And I thought that would be really cool for her. My daughter's 13, if you don't know, and she has literally just started diving. She did her open water recently with Crystal Seas, and I thought that would be really cool for her when she's ready in time to just be able to take her phone down, take snaps, and then she can show her school friends, can't she? You know, without getting into the whole editing and all this sort of business, you know.
Yeah,
and that works well.
Yeah, and you put it on you got like a little rig for it, didn't you?
Yeah.
And put a light and your GoPro on, and then I followed suit and got a similar setup. And
I find it quite a nice position.
It is. I think it helps with buoyancy.
Yeah, you know us divers, all the power comes from our fins and our legs, and your hands are like free, and you're like, what do I do with my hands? And I often just cruise along, and I've got my fingers crossed, or just nose down, looking at all the critters and things.
Nose down,
being a seal. And it's really quite nice because you've got this frame, and it's like an upside. It's basically like a U, isn't it? And you've got a camera. In the middle, GoPro facing back towards me,
and a light
facing forward, and a little light facing back, and it all works really quite well. And we're hoping to do some more of that as the diving goes. And I've actually used a noodle out of the pool.
One of the
buoyancy to it, so it doesn't, because it weighs probably with all the bits and pieces,
kilo,
maybe a bit more, 1.5 kilos probably. And so I've had some buoyancy to it by using parts of a noodle. I tried to get a black one, but it's red, but there you go, it works. And I've used that to add some buoyancy to it. It still sinks, still negative in the water, but it's not like stone type.
No.
There is still a little bit of buoyancy there.
Yeah, I've done the same. So I've got the Olympus in the housing and light and GoPro, and we're just gonna practice. And
not that expensive either. You do see some really expensive kits, like some of the arms and that, like a lot of money, especially if you're going to go. We're not tech divers, so we're just bobbing about looking at all the fun stuff and things. So I'm not looking to, we're not looking to replace tech stuff that's engineered for tech divers. We're not.
Yeah.
So, but for us at a recreational level, where we're keeping, let's say, above 30 meters, it is absolutely fine, and that works, and it's all good.
Yeah, and it's very easy to manage it's still got a clip on, so you clip it on, getting in the water and getting out of the water. But I think that we've dived both with it, and we'll put some pictures on social media so you can see.
That are been certified to 50 meters.
Yeah, rechargeables.
I've never been down 50 meters.
So no, we're not going down that deep.
If they last for the next few years, going down at 20 meters, then hey, cool. And I suppose in total the whole setup has cost what, £150.
Yeah, I think so, and works really
The
well.
frame and the little twiddly bits that are the joints and that.
Yeah.
So if you want some more info on that and how we've done it, and it is a really nice, we've got a lanyard that does clip to us.
I tell you what we could do. We could put it in our Amazon storefront so that people can just have a click and see all the components that we've brought.
Good thinking, Bat Lady. Good thinking.
Yeah.
But it's quite nice because we clip it on before we go jump in, and then you just unclip the lanyard bit so you've got that stretch.
Yeah, you're still attached to like an
and then you can just cruise along. You got your hands forward and what have you, and then say you put your SMB up, just flip back up, that's out of the way, and you can get your SMB out and your hands are free again. And that does work really quite well, and you've found it good as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I really really enjoyed using it, and I think it's just another addition to diving now. And you've taken some really good pictures and video on the Farnes trip, because I didn't have the setup then, so I was just using a standard camera in the housing. But since the Farnes, we then went to Lundy Island, went down to Ilfracombe, and we both had a similar setup then and got some really good pictures of seals. And then so we'll give a shout out to the guys at Lundy Diving, Ben, Sam and Gemma, who we went
them busy. Sammy didn't even get a chance to have a little sleep, did he?
No. We had quite a bumpy steam out to Lundy.
My goodness.
It was fun though.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, we're well. There was some
carrots and peas and all sorts.
There was some not so well people.
I have to say, if you're going to throw up, going towards the front of the boat when the boat is at full rate probably isn't the best place to stand for everyone else.
No.
We kind of missed the carrots and peas.
We did, but anyway, enough of that. So, but when we got to Lundy,
carrots and peas.
When we got to Lundy, obviously the people that were swimming were not overly keen on swimming straight away, so we all had a couple of hours on the island. So
what's that?
To get our sea legs back. So we had a great trip. We wandered up to the top of the island, didn't we? To the amazing lighthouse at the top, and just saw
what a view!
Such views. Yeah, we on the Atlantic one side, and then obviously I suppose Bristol Channel-ish, you'd call it, over to the UK. So, but all round views of the island, and it was stunning.
I should say on contrast, okay. So going out, it was rough, and it was fun. Honey was the only person on the whole boat without amongst all of us, 14 people, who didn't wear a coat, right? Who sat there and got a damp arm.
Yeah.
And I was like sitting there, and it felt like somebody was just throwing a bucket of salt water over my face every 10 seconds. As soon as I cleared it, wash, another one. In contrast, my point is that we've been out there, and that is still, it's calm, it's a cruise, had dolphins, you name it. And it was fantastic. The island, if you're wondering where Lundy is, again, if you're not in the UK and you're not aware of these things, if you look to the far west coast of the UK, and you've got Ireland on one side, you've got Wales on the other, down below that where Devon is, okay, you see Devon, look above Devon and see a little tiny island right out into the Atlantic, and that is Lundy Island.
Yeah, it's 21 miles from Ilfracombe, so it is quite a steam out there. So you do have, so if you're expecting it to be like the Farne Islands, it's not. You are out in open sea, 21 miles out. So if you're not a good sea person,
I would love to be on that island wintertime when there's a full-blown storm.
Oh, it must be amazing.
The force you're going to experience nature at its most, aren't you? There, because there's nothing to stop it's Atlantic, Lundy.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm getting excited. You look at the coastline. That's why they call it the Jurassic coastline, because that whole coastline has been shaped by the weather. because it's pure brute force weather they have there, and huge tidal ranges.
Yeah, it can be up to 9-10 meters on when it's sort of the
in
peak.
a day. Can you imagine that?
It's incredible. Yeah, and
the amount of water.
The actual island, you can walk around it. There's a pub, there's a shop.
Yes.
So even if you're not a snorkeler or a diver, there's stuff there to see. So you can have a nice hike. It takes about 20 minutes to get up to the pub.
Yeah, if you're holiday in Devon or whatever, look up Santi Diving. Get in contact with them, or hi-ho charters.
Yeah.
And make contact, get booked on, because in for a swim or walk about, as Gemma say, the views are just stunning, absolute stunning. Being up the top of that lighthouse,
it was amazing, wasn't it?
And you can see the whole island in its entirety. I want to put the drone up, but I don't know what was going on with the drone. It was like, I'm scared, I don't want to go up. It was having like this whole, I don't know, software issue or whatever. But anyway, you don't need a drone, because you just need to go up there, the top of the lighthouse, and you can see the whole island.
Yeah,
it's just awesome. Imagine nighttime.
I know, the stars. Yeah, so there's the sheep on the island. We saw some horses. But then
we've been there since they created and built a lot of the buildings.
The
ponies have been there.
Yeah, and there's a pier jetty where you get on and off. So we picked the boat back up there, and then they took us around to Gannett's Bay. So some people jumped off, snorkeled with the seals, and they were all very inquisitive, and we had a little dive. So
we did.
Which was
Scuba Honey's first go in the sea.
Yes, yeah. So she got to see some seals, and they were very inquisitive. They liked your fins as usual.
So I dive when I'm pleasure diving. I dive mainly in my force fins, accelerating fins, and they've got like
they're black.
They're black, and they've got like these ridges on. They're like what they call them, teeth, and seals seem to particularly like them quite a lot, and I could feel one having the right chomp on one of my fins.
It was lovely to see. Yeah, so we got that filmed. But yeah, the seals in the at Lundy are very friendly, and we were swimming back to the boat, weren't we, to get back on, and there was one that popped up to say hello and goodbye.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
Yeah, so that was a great day. So we did that in a day, and then we had we overnighted somewhere about an hour and a half away from Swanage, and then we thought Swanage Pier has been on our bucket list. So we took the opportunity to head down there the next day and
You told us about Swanage Pier the first time.
Well, I think we've had several people mention it, but it's a notoriously pretty dive under a pier. It's not deep, like 5 meters max, I think, on a high tide, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
they teach diving actually at Swanage Pier, don't
they? There's a dive shop there, Divers Down. So Mike looked after us for air fills and a few bits for honey.
Yeah.
And it's a pier that's owned by the Swanage Trust. So it's charity. So there's no arcades or anything on there. Parking was really straightforward.
Really easy.
And you get trolleys. You can have a trolley to put all your dive gear in. And it was just like real fun.
If you haven't been, again, if you're thinking about next year, or actually still not too late for this year, if you're thinking about somewhere to get dive, for us in Norfolk, it's what?
5-hour trip.
Yeah, it's about a good 6 hours. So it's not something to, you can't just get in the car and just hammer down. You want to be planned, because also we should probably make it aware that it's only really the visibility is best on a south, when the wind's coming from the southwest.
Yeah, if there's an easterly, it's no.
Yeah, because it'll stir it up. So yeah, but it's everything all so well catered for divers, so well catered.
Yeah, really easy to get in. There is you can do a giant stride off, but you can do step entry, and just get all your gear on in the water. It's lovely. And
for new divers, like Honey as her second time in the sea, flipping out. I'm going to have to put some elastic on her.
She was just amazing. She was pointing at everything. Yeah, off like 90 miles an hour. Look at this.
Waving, pointing, waving,
Fish.
trying to wave at every fish. And then
Yeah, and it was so lovely to see. It was just amazing.
nudging me and pointing at that little critter, and getting you, and she go, "Whoa!" You can hear her making noises and stuff, and it's like, yeah,
that was just the loveliest dive, and we didn't get much more than a couple of meters, 3 meters.
No,
because it was going out on it. We went out. It was all going low tide, wasn't it? But the life under the colours, the sun on the pier, there were fish, crabs. It was just, yeah.
You've seen crabs and first time saw crabs.
Yeah, and then we saw a seagrass area, which was we've never seen that before. Yeah, sea slugs.
Actually, Honey saw the slugs and pointed them out.
Yeah. So, but it was just, I mean, we must have been in the water, what, hour?
A good hour. Yeah,
good hour.
Came up for a little bit.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just really, really lovely, and yeah, I highly recommend it for anybody. Just to, yeah, and if you can fit it in again this year, I think even for us, like in Norfolk, you probably need to do an overnighter. And
if I was going to do it again, I would. We didn't really get too much chance in it, really, did we? Because that's just the way it worked out with the tide we had. By the time we got down there, tide was going out, and it was either do it or we don't, and that was, we don't know when we're next back down that way. So yeah, we were 2 meters max depth.
Yeah.
Given a chance, I would try and time it to do it on their high tide.
Mm.
So you just got a little bit more depth. It makes it a bit more easier and gives you a bit more flexibility, I think, with the depth.
Yeah, to be honest, Honey coped really well with the lack of depth. Yeah, really, really good. So that was another trip, and then this coming week we're heading back to the Farne Islands.
Sorry, Ron, you got put up with us again next weekend.
Yeah, and Maura, our B&B, we're back.
Yeah, we're back, and look forward to it. Can't wait, and going to be diving in the full face mask a lot more on this one, I think.
Yes.
Because we're kind of building up the experience,
and we've got some news.
We have got some news.
What's
our news?
We are officially Ocean Reef ambassadors.
Woo!
Well done.
Thank you, Ocean Reef.
Yes, yeah. So that was news today. So we will be appearing on their website. So that's really great news.
And we do enjoy the full face mask diving. It's true, and totally enjoyed what diving in them at the Farnes. Like was probably we have dived in it at Stony, but we'll be diving in it more as time goes.
Yeah, and especially sea diving as well, because I think it comes into its own with you do get a little bit better visibility, all round visibility, and also we still have got the comms kit, and we can work on that. So which is we've tested that out.
We are getting better at, aren't we? Because a lot of that is all about timing your breathing, listening.
Yeah, I think we will get the knack of it, and I think it is coming, and that's why we've been very steady in building up our hours on the mark.
We want to say thank you to one person as well that I think has been really supportive in our journey with this as well, don't you think?
Yeah, John Osmond.
Yeah.
So we did our tri-dive with John at Crystal Seas. We did our qualification with John, and he was an amazing instructor, very supportive in quite testing conditions back in the cold depths.
3 degrees at Gildenberg. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've used
when somebody really didn't want to be there.
So I'm not doing this. But we did it. And he's been really supportive we've needed a few things help with on the masks, and he's just been amazing. So we want to say big thank you. And he's our go-to person for servicing as well. So because the masks should be serviced periodically, and he's got the spares and the kit to do the service, and he's an approved servicing engineer.
So if you're listening and you're thinking about trying a full face mask, John has a number of them actually, and he can organize. If you speak to John or you speak to us, and we'll connect you up. He's got a few there that you can book some time with him to do a try dive and in the pool and see if you like it. And then if you like it, John can be your instructor and contact.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think it's not going to be for everybody that wants to try it. But I think there's different applications. We're doing it on a recreational side, and so that we can communicate underwater and just promote the mask. And then there are other people, like I think there's some underwater survey people, they use it because they then can communicate, or they've got better vision underwater. So and I think if you're interested, definitely give it a go, even do a try dive.
Yeah, it is, exactly. So do it, and let us know how you get on. And again, if you want some more information, make contact with us, and we'll steer you in the right direction, all being well.
Yes, yeah. So the other shout outs, we just need to give a shout out to Maria Munn, who we saw in Swanage. Yeah. She came up to us and said, "Hello, Gemma." I'm like, who are you? So Maria is she does a lot of snorkeling under Swanage Pier. She was a diver, but I think she focuses more on the snorkeling side of things. But she is an amazing she is really into compact camera pictures underwater. So I'm not sure, but I was put in contact with her by Cave Crawler Underwater.
Oh yes.
He recommended looking her up.
Cave Crawler and Roger the Cabin Boy.
Yeah. So she always has lots of advice, and for amateurs underwater. Taking pictures. Stop laughing.
I know, but poor old Rog, he's never going to be allowed to be forgotten that any time those two are on the boat. There he is. there's Cave Crawler and his sidekick
Roger the Cabin Boy.
Roger the Cabin Boy.
Yeah, so they're also great friends of the podcast and great supporters. But so Maria, we'll put links to her Facebook page and Instagram page in the show notes, but do look her up, and we will be having her on the podcast as well to do kind of a simple guide to taking pictures underwater. So
which will be really cool.
So it's lovely to see her. We've also been out above the water quite a bit, haven't we, on our Sea Lion paddleboards. So if you're interested in looking at the brand of paddleboards we use, www.sealionboards.com. They've got a range of boards, shapes and sizes. Often there's a sale on, and you can
nice boards. Not just saying that, but don't take our word. Go to the website, have a look. They are really nice. They've got like this sort of pine effect on the boards, which look really nice.
It's almost, they are all inflatable. But they give you the impression, that they're wood. They're quite snazzy looking. We've got a promo code BiG Scuba if you want to use that for a little bit of a more discount. But look them up. And we've been out on local inland water site. We went to Dillham Canal recently. Site, Norfolk's only canal.
And not a lot of people know that.
No, and we've had the drone up from the paddleboard, which has been another new adventure.
That wasn't scary at all.
But you did really, really well. It's just but we'll have some more footage of that up on the YouTube channel. So take a look there. We've tried to put a few more shorts up on our YouTube channel. So head over to BiG Scuba and have a look and give us a few thumbs up and subscribe. That will be good. And
again, we should also say thanks for their support, and also thanks to Night at 90. I meant to say with the Ocean Reef masks as well, because it was with their support that helped us get into the mask. So Night at 90 along with us, in this crazy trip that we are on with the BiG Scuba Podcast. So
the adventure, yes. Yes, I think. And then we were going to just give a shout out to Christina and Kevin. Christina Zanato and Kevin Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Because they've had recently been on major massive trip to the Caicos Islands.
Yeah, doing awesome stuff as always. And we been following Christina and Kevin for ever since we first did a recording with Christina, all that time ago. And we would recommend that, if you don't know who Christina is and you think, what's all this about, look her up. She's well known for cave exploring around there where she lived, and also in the Bahamas, and also very well known as being the shark listener.
Yeah. So real advocate for sharks,
reef sharks, and for those reef sharks, and spent a whole lifetime studying. And if you're ever wondering about whether diving, in principle is the right time because you're not sure and things like that, or she's a great person to follow, and certainly been an inspiration for us in this whole crazy journey of the BiG Scuba. So I do totally recommend look her up.
I've
taken some great photos, so look him up as well.
If you're a new diver, and we all have our wobbles, and listening to Christina and her words of advice, even listen to the podcasts we've done with her, it really inspires you. When you you can hear her voice in your head. In a amazing way.
Okay, so I think we kind of covered everything apart from who we've got. We'll just give you a quick heads up about, because we need to talk about Santi, because Santi are coming on, which is really cool, and we love their products. And but just give you, before we get into Santi, just give you a bit of a heads up about who's coming on in the near future, who we're going to be recording. We've got Ted Harty. Who's Ted Harty? He is the founder of Immersion Freediving, and he talks a lot about health and safety and the human factors in freediving and being underwater.
He's very active on social media, isn't he?
Very. Based out in Florida, I think, from memory. And look him up. Ted Harty is coming on. And then we've got Chris Lemons. Who's Chris Lemons? Have you seen the film? It's a kind of a documentary film called Last Breath. If you haven't, look it up and watch it, because Chris is going to be coming on talking about his life and and about that and what happened. So that's going to be really good. And then we've got Chris Taylor, who's a local lad from Norfolk.
So he's done amazing photography, drone work, videography on the North Norfolk coast and around Norfolk as well. So
he's part of the RNLI as well.
He is, and he's a big, very much into the Sheringham Chalk Reef snorkel trail as well, which is an amazing reef we've got on the North Norfolk coast and all its wildlife. So he's got a lot of YouTube content up.
Great drone footage as well.
So we're really looking forward to having him on as well to talk about diving in the UK.
And then amongst all that, we've got an update with Ben and Sammy from Hi Ho Charters. They're coming on, giving us an update of what they've been up to over this summer and dive season.
And it was really nice to see them a few weeks ago as well, wasn't it? It was just they always make us laugh.
Good couple of characters, and always on social media as well, aren't they?
And also to say thank you to them, for they always reshare our posts and our stories, and it's really nice that they do that,
and we love having them on. So it's always good catching up. Okay, so let's talk Santi.
Yes. So it was about probably a month and a bit ago we spoke to Agnes. I'll say Agnes because that's easier to pronounce her full name. So from Santi, so she was the sales and marketing director, and Santi are big in dry suit manufacturing and undersuits, heated garments, and they seem to be quite popular in the UK at the moment. We've seen more Santi suits around, so hence why we contacted Santi and thought we'd find out a bit more about them.
We see Crystal Seas. They stock their suits and that now, don't they? And often dive in this. And there's a real nice quality about their dry suits.
Yes, they've certainly got
and their undersuits as well, to be fair.
Yeah, and we've seen obviously a lot of the instructors, dive masters at Crystal Seas convert over to Santi suits. So if you sort of see the Crystal Seas gang,
busy on social media as well.
Very active. Yeah,
they're often sharing about their products and some of the ambassadors, and it's great to see, you know, and very active and sort of modern and forward-facing company.
Yes, they're based in Poland, but they are a worldwide company. And I think if you don't know or haven't heard of Santi as a dry suit manufacturer, then this podcast might be quite of interest to you.
Yeah, they also own other brands such as Suex, who make the scooters. You know? So if you're thinking about getting into that at some stage, and you fancy that whole underwater propulsion system, they kind of cater for that as well under that brand. So there's a few, but have a look. You know, they do some awesome stuff. Really.
Yeah, and they've got quite a good web page to look up their products, look at their ambassadors, and and it was really good chatting to her.
It was, yeah. So should we get her on?
I think we better, yes. Yeah. We've had a good old natter.
We have. It's been a while since we caught up.
It is, so we've caught up. So so this was our conversation with Santi.
Hold on. Before we do that, we should just very quickly say thank you for everyone who, in our last few trips and that have been coming up to us, who have seen the flag and said, hey, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we wanted to say thank you very much for everyone who come and said hello. And, please carry on doing that. We love that. We love hearing from you. Always look out the flag. The flag is always up wherever we go diving. And our cars are also going to have, we've got some new magnetic signage as well. That is, which kind of makes it stand out as well.
They're very blue, and there is a QR code on the back of the car as well that you can just scan, and that will take you to our website.
Yes. And we should also say, sorry, so much to tell you, that when we're at Stony, we have through our lovely friends at NART, some sheer water dive computers for people to come along and test. Okay, there's a little bit of paperwork to fill in. Okay, so there is some terms and conditions. We'll go through that with you. But if you want to try a dive computer out first, and you thought, hey, sheer water, I've heard a lot about them, wonder what they're like to dive with. We've got we've got Perdix, Peregrine, you know, for your new divers. So come see the flag, see us, ask if you can try one and take it in the water, have a dive, have a couple of dives with it. And we can do that for you. And then we've got a little discount card to then give you. How about that?
Yeah, and that can be used on any NART products as well. So definitely an incentive to come and see us.
There we go. So back to you.
So this is episode 158. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to us. And we're now going to listen to our conversation with Santi.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast, Agnes.
Hey.
So you're joining us. So you're based in Poland, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm joining you from Poland. It's, I would say, rather cloudy summer afternoon today, although we are expecting some warmer weather coming from abroad, I understand. So we are expecting some hot days to come, but it's good. I like hot summers.
So you're right on the Baltic Sea?
Yes. I'm located and I live in Gdynia. So Gdynia is a city more or less at the shore of the Baltic Sea in the north of Poland.
Yeah.
And Santi is located here as the company. We also have a factory located, let's say, 30 kilometers from here in Reda. But generally, yes, we are from here and we operate from the northern Poland.
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
Yeah. So our podcast is about scuba diving and people connected to the water. So if maybe there are some people out there that haven't heard about Santi, can you tell us a bit about the company?
Sure. Well, the company itself has been established a long time ago in 1989 by Tomek Stachura. He is quite a well-known diver already when it comes to the Baltic Sea and Baltic way of diving and technical diving. So originally he was a diver, and of course he had a company that was connected to producing clothing. And back, let's say, in the beginning of 2000s, he was actually looking around for dive gear that would suit his needs. And well, like in many of the diving industry, diving brands, the brand itself has been created from the need, right? So he wanted to have a dry suit that fits his needs and the undersuit that fits his needs when it comes to cold water diving. So at that time in the market, that the offer at the market wasn't maybe very, it wasn't enough for him. So he wanted to have something of his own, and he had the capacity and let's say possibility to produce something like that. And originally the company, I would say, started a bit by an accident, because he started producing the undersuits for his fellow divers. You know, just thinking, okay, could it be something that, you know, that could create a brand? But it wasn't at the beginning the idea of building a brand as we are today.
Right.
So beginning, let's say 2003, 2004, the undersuit started to be produced, and the name Santi actually was used because the company he was owning at that time was called Santi, but it was connected to more like a workwear brand, you know, like working clothes for workers. So so actually the name got stuck to the products that went to divers, even though and then it went viral because the undersuits that he started producing became, you know, very well received, and people were talking, oh, did you hear about this company from Poland that is producing this wonderful undersuits, and they are so perfect. So people started ordering products even before the brand was even created, right? So it was extremely organic. And it was too late to change the name, because the thing is that the name stuck to the product, and later, even though at that time Tomek tried to think, okay, maybe the brand should be called somewhere else, something else, like more connected to water or something different, it was already too late, because people knew the name already and it got stuck to the products.
Yeah.
So this was the beginnings, and the production of first dry suits, you know, started very slowly, let's say piece by piece for individual divers and people. So it was at the very beginning, it was just, you know, a couple of dry suits, or let's say a couple of tens of dry suits a month, right? So it was growing organically from year to year. And yeah, so these were the beginnings, and let's say 2008, 9, this was the time when the company started to grow when it comes to distribution models, to having more and more dealers around the world. Originally, it was Europe and actually some of the American dealers.
Yeah.
But then when the company started to grow and the brand started to be recognized, new distributors were joining. So Netherlands, South Korea, let's say most of the countries within Europe. And that's how it started. I would say the products themselves were good, and they were very needed on the market. That's why, you know, company was growing very fast. So when I joined in 2011, the company was more or less an established, well-recognized brand, although we were still in this phase of very rapid growth from year to year, right? So when I joined, it was like 12 years ago. A lot of what I have added was a structure, right? So some pricing strategy, marketing strategy, development strategy. So this was a, I would say, very active time of the market, establishing the market and working with our current distributors to build the network. So this was, let's say, the beginnings, and then, you know, from year to year we are coming up with new models of dry suits, with new models of undersuits. Every year something new was coming, some new exciting markets or some new exciting projects that we were doing together with our business partners. And I would say that what helped us is also our very, very big focus on being still very close to the divers. So we listen to them, we talk to them. Tomek himself is a diver, so he is more or less all the time somewhere in a diving spot or diving with his team of Baltic Tech. And it's a very natural way to work when you have your own, when you have the owner using the product and coming back with ideas how to improve it, what to change, right?
There's not many companies about where the actual instigator of the business or the head of the business is actually still having time to go and do the sport which first got them started in the business, which is almost is a bit of a shame, really, isn't it? That although that's the spin-off of being having a really good business, is that time becomes short and then you got to look after the business and then you don't have time to dive. And
although I think this is something also quite unique in Santi, that that Tomek, being an owner, has put a lot of effort in support in building the team. So I was there. The other people were here, you know, working in marketing, in sales, in logistics, in production. So we have a team. Today it's almost 150 people working at Santi.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
So it's a lot of backup behind what Tomek is doing and representing the company as it is and being the company. There is also a team of people working every day to make this happen, right? So I think this is a bit of a secret behind Santi or behind any company, to have a team you can rely on and to have a team that you can trust that they are doing, let's say, a good job for you, right?
Yeah. And that's lovely to hear, because if you've got a team all going in the right direction and having that passion, then that's where you get the product that becomes renowned for, you know, quality and for being good, and you get people coming back.
Yeah. And honestly, the team doesn't have too much time for diving. Well, you know, there are not many divers among our team. Well, now more than before, because when I joined Santi, I was actually, except Tomek, there was nobody that was a diver actually. We knew how to sell, we knew how to produce, we knew how to support, but the being a diver is not necessarily a need doing the business, right? So at a certain point, we actually decided as a team that we will make a diving course. So I think it was back in 2015 or 14, that a team of our, let's say, management group, 10 people, we all took the diving course together. So we did the open water diving course, and then from that, some of us have continued. So some of us are, let's say, more or less a bit active divers, but some stopped, but they still understand what's behind the product, right? Yeah. How is it to go underwater?
What about you? Do you dive?
I dive occasionally. I've done this course in 2015. It was an open water diving course. And from that, what I continue is whenever I travel somewhere in an interesting place, I usually go diving, right? Yeah. So in Poland, we have a lot of cold water diving. So I've tried that. I've tried the quarries. I've tried the Baltic Sea. But I'm not too much into this when it comes to my personal preference.
The temperature.
So I fully support and understand technical divers and cold water divers, but me myself, I prefer a bit warmer climate.
But hey, Santi doesn't do any wetsuits.
Well, that's the beauty, because what we are trying to tell here and to persuade our clients about is a dry suit doesn't have to be only for cold water, right? You can have a dry suit even being in Egypt or in Croatia, in Italy. So a lot of our let's say very successful markets are also located in warmer climate, because dry suit is something that gives you comfort. Let's say you can dive longer, you can feel safer and better, right? In a wetsuit, of course, there are destinations like where the water is really warm, but you don't travel to them that often, right? So using the European type of diving, or let's say a closer areas around Europe, dry suit is a very good choice as well, right? So that's what we are trying to do and educate people why a dry suit is a good choice for you if you want to dive actively.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. And for people thinking about diving, understanding what a dry suit is to keep you nice and warm for a start and dry is great.
Because looking at your dry suits, you've got I think about 6 for the men and about 8 for the lady side. And so when you look across the range, you've got Elite Plus, Emotion, Elite, and Space and Enduro. So would you say that some of them are more tailored for the, I suppose, the sport diver rather than the tech diver?
Well, some of those dry suits of those models are still, we keep all the models that we ever introduced. So we support every type of a dry suit that we produce, and we are still there even with the first ones produced from heavy Cordura dry suit. So Enduro is this kind of a dry suit that was the first one produced in the Santi range. But at that time, let's say 15 years ago, a dry suit was this type of a gear that is heavy duty to laminate. It's more like an armor, right? That produced from a heavy fabric. So with time, with our evolution of our company and of the fabrics in the market, we've been introducing lighter and easier models to use. So the ones that we are selling now the most, like Elite Plus, for example, it's a trilaminate dry suit as well, but it combines the durability, but also flexibility and, let's say, softness of the fabric. So it doesn't restrict your movement. So it, gives you comfort underwater. So all of those dry suits are dedicated, let's say, to certain needs. And whenever we sell a dry suit, or our distributors and dealers are selling a dry suit, they are asking a diver, okay, how do you dive? How often do you dive? What do you need? Are you a very technical diver? Let's say you go a lot to caves and wrecks, or maybe you are a commercial diver and you need your dry suit for work, right? In that case, we usually advise them to choose the most, let's say, durable, heavy duty dry suits. When you are more like a recreational sports diver, the Emotion Plus or Elite Plus are dry suits that are much more, I would say, not advanced, but maybe, let's say, innovative when it comes to trilaminate dry suit construction and the way it's cut, right? So choosing from the Santi range, depending on your needs and depending on your let's say budget for the gear, you can choose the variety of models. But the main ones we sell and we offer is Elite Plus and Emotion Plus. These are 2 dry suits that I would say cover a lot of needs for most of the divers.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. And we're obviously recreational divers, but we've seen our local dive shop, Crystal Seas in Norwich, they're stocking it, and it's it's been great to see people suddenly changing over to Santi dry suits.
Yeah. We are very excited about the UK market development, because the UK market is, I would say, it's a tough nut to work with, because it's a very, I would say, traditional market when it comes to dry suit diving.
Yeah.
The most of the original initial dry suit diving came from UK, actually.
Yeah.
So we know that, and we respect the let's say the way it was developed. But at this stage, we are sure that, you know, working with our brand all over the world, and with let's say this innovative approach, we can offer something that is comfortable to dive with, right? So that's important. And in UK, especially since a couple of last years, we've been very successful with getting, you know, new dealers on board and new divers, and we can see a very let's say optimistic trend of younger generation becoming the dive shop owners or dive center owners, and being excited about the product, right? So so it's really nice to see that. And what we try to do in communication with the divers is to say, listen, a dry suit is an investment, of course, but it gives you freedom of diving whenever you want, all year round, right? Which you cannot have in a wetsuit, because it's actually difficult to dive in winter in a wetsuit.
Yes, definitely.
Not nice, though.
No, it's not.
No.
I think it's quite clever, actually. Quite a clever bit of marketing that you do with offering a dry suit that is flexible and light as a comparison to a wetsuit. So us in the UK and other colder climates are thinking, oh, summer's coming, I can go into a wetsuit, but actually I could actually have a dry suit that's not as this big, cumbersome and thick and heavy dry, which, you know, like my daughter's just now started diving, and, you know, she's gone for this transition of getting used to this dry suit and the weight and things like that. And that is the drawdown, I suppose, the drawback with having a heavy neoprene wetsuit, isn't it? You know, and those probably not so modern materials. And also, I think your attitude towards social media is more modern as well. You know, I know with previous conversations that we've had with your, you know, with marketing, that you're responsive. There's, you know, you're on YouTube, and the modern diver, the people who are now coming through, you know, so, you know, are on social media. They're looking around for what is working and the new suits, new materials. And I think today's diving goes hand in hand with that.
Yes, that's true. And we put a very big, let's say, emphasis on this communication and using new tools. And we are constantly discussing this to be aware of not losing the impact and not staying behind with, let's say, the generation of divers we were entering with to the market. Because those guys, you know, all due respect, but they are more or less, I would say, they are still, of course, divers, sometimes active divers, but they are, you know, less and less in business, less and less in being involved in the communities. So what we need is new people on board, younger generation that would, you know, understand the concept behind this. And the only way to them is through the social media and let's say this modern approach with videos, reels, you know, Insta stories, and nice marketing, showing them how the other people are using the gear. So we need to be in constant, let's say, on a watch out for where is the attention going and how people are communicating today, right? So it's not enough to make a catalog or print a manual. You need to be there in this video content.
Yeah, and that's a very good way. It's the window for any youngster, or social media is the way to go. And like you say, you don't need to print like reams and reams of paper to dish out, because it's just not the way things are done.
There are some markets, like markets that are a bit inclusive when it comes to their own ways. Let's say France, for example. France is a very special market that is right now picking up very nice, but they need their communication in French language because they don't really like English.
No, really?
No, yes. So to get
that
them,
comes over as a shock.
We have local influencers, local people who speak French, and that's what we try to do. So each and every distributor we have, when I work with them for Santi brand, we always discuss, okay, what's the idea for local communication, right? It's not just the main headquarters line of communication, but you also need to have this local community and brand ambassadors we work with on each and every market to communicate with the local diving community.
Yeah, and again, that's great to hear Santi adapting to the different markets. You can't just be a one-stop shop. This is how it is. If you're adapting to those markets individually, they'll work better for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not easy because sometimes, especially let's say in Asian markets, Korea, China, they need different ways of communication. So we try to support them with the ways we can, but also we rely a lot on the distributors to make their own way of working with us. So each and every distributor for Santi is, let's say, our business partner for a certain market. So we always discuss the strategy per market. It's not like a global strategy, the same for everyone, because that's also something we try to look after, that each market and each let's say part of the world needs very good support for service. Because a very big part of deciding to buy a dry suit is, okay, I will buy it, but what support do I get when something breaks, when something leaks, when there is an issue with my dry suit, right? So Santi, I would say, is one of the few companies that has our own authorized service centers on each distribution market. So they are authorized
what does
centers.
That mean? So sorry, what does that mean then? So I buy a suit from a dealer in the UK, and I want to send it off to be serviced. I've done 50 to 100 dives. I want to get it serviced. What would be the process to get that then serviced?
The process is to go to our website, or of course, originally the dealer you buy a dry suit from should already give you this information at the very beginning. Listen, this is your dry suit. Whenever something breaks, this is a phone number you call or an email you write to, because this is an authorized service center in UK that is trained here in Gdynia in our factory. So each authorized service center, local service center that works in different country, they first have to go through a detailed training. Let's say very often it's an update every, let's say, few years or so. So they know how we work, they know the quality we demand, and by doing that, their work is warranted by us. So we give them, let's say, a client a security that when you go to this authorized service center that is indicated in our website and you do your repairs there, you get the warranty kept, you have the warranty repairs when needed, free of charge. You have all the support that we would give you locally. You don't have to ship it back to Poland, to the factory. So most of the works that are, let's say, on a daily basis, things to do, let's say changing a zipper, changing the boots, or some small leak repairs, stuff like that. That all can be done locally, and that's very important. And I would say one of the features that we are unique from. So we have the one in China, we have the one in Korea, in Australia, in the States. And most of the markets that we are distributing have their own authorized service centers. And of course, in bigger countries, it's even few, because in Germany is a very big market for us. So we have 3 authorized service centers there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And it gives people kind of confidence that they're going to get the service that they want, rather than their dry suit.
Yes, and also time-wise, it's important, right? Because when you would have to send your dry suit for warranty repair back, let's say, to Poland, it takes time. It takes, in your case, and in some other cases, it takes right now customs clearance, right? Yeah. and it takes time. And of course, being here in the factory, our service center is of course the biggest, but also we deal only with the toughest cases, the ones that need some tailor changes, or some serious repairs that would be needed for, let's say if a dry suit is already heavily used and needs much more attention, then usually the authorized service center sends it back to Poland. But then again, the contact for the local market, for the local diver, is the authorized service center in the country. So in case of UK, it's Dive Master Scuba, and they solve the problem. In case they are not, let's say, able to do it, then they are the ones sending it to Poland, taking care of the service, and then communicating with the client.
Right. Okay. So for us in the UK, it's good to hear that, that could be generally, unless there's something really serious wrong with it, it would be handled in the UK, and, should be a reasonably quick turnaround on a service on a suit, which is, that's really good.
It saves time and money, and it's very convenient for everyone.
That is, because when you're looking around for a dry suit, I remember when I bought mine, and I started diving, and I was hiring a suit at the time, and I was like, well, I don't really know what manufacturer to go with. And, as a new diver, you're kind of looking at your instructor, and you're looking around at your local dive center to see what they're offering. And you want to know, as part of that deal, that, whoever you're dealing with will be able to then service it, or they'll know who to pass it on to. And I was always told, the company who I bought the suit from would look after me and give me a good service and that. So it's really good to hear that Santi are in that same thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important for us as consumers to know that we've got that backup.
Sure. And the next, I would say that the next thing that we also are very, very, let's say, eager to work with is proper training of the dealers. So when you as a diver will come to a Santi dealer, you will get all the information you need, also the proper measurement support, advice on how to configure your dry suit properly, right? What kind of seals, what kind of boots you need, what kind of, additional features. So Santi is very flexible in that way, because each and every dry suit we produce is more or less produced for a diver. So you can change your colors, your options, your fitting, everything that's needed. And of course, there are some divers that would say, okay, I'm fine with an L size in this color. And we have that offer as well. So sometimes at dealers, we have some sample dry suits that you can more or less buy from the stock, but it's not, that's not the concept of a Santi dry suit, right? So you buy a premium product, that's why you need premium service and premium support.
Yeah, that's good. And it's a really nice way to sum it up, that it is that kind of all-round service that people are going to get and continue to get as they go through their diving experience with a Santi suit.
So basically, the dealer would actually do, like, would measure you and then submit those measurements?
Yes, we have a quite a sophisticated ordering system that our dealers are using, and our distributors are working with the dealers about the orders, confirming it, and then it comes to us in the factory. So we have a very nice way of communicating everything. So everything is under control. There are no information that is missing. So I would say we are pretty advanced in the way we work already right now with our dealers and distributors.
Yeah. And what's the kind of time scale? So if we went to a local dealer, they measure us up for a suit and then it comes back to you. What's the time scale with getting a suit back?
Well, it depends. It depends on time of the year and also on the actual, let's say, need from all the other markets, because our factory produces a certain number of dry suits a month, and depending on how heavy workload is, let's say, ahead, it takes right now at this stage we produce a dry suit within, let's say, 5 weeks. So it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick because we are pretty, right now we have invested quite a lot in a new factory. We have a lot of people on board, so producing a dry suit takes quicker than it was, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago, especially in the pandemic times when it was so hard, to get the raw materials and all the supplies. So the waiting time was a bit longer. Right now we are pretty fast, I would say. So within 4 or 5 weeks, you could have, let's say, a make-to-fit, very individual product, especially for you, right?
Right. Okay. That's really good. I'm going to touch on another subject regarding this, and I couldn't see it on your website, and it might be that I just missed it. I don't know. Let's talk about sustainability side of things. There's quite a few of the diving companies out there. They're looking at reducing the waste in postage, doing stuff with their offcuts and neoprene and recycling that. In regards to your processes and that, are you looking at reducing waste and using less plastic and things like that?
Sure. Well, we are of course working with that as much as we can. We've been a part of this fourth, there was, I don't remember, or if you recall, this project of what was it called? I forgot the name of the action. I'm sorry, but Fourth Element did the action of gathering all the companies within the industry to, let's say, pledge a certain way of.
That was over the pandemic years, wasn't it? You kind of hit between that.
Yes, I forgot the name of the action. I'm sorry. But we were very much into thinking and rethinking the ways we work and the way we pack our products, what we do with the packaging. So we have a certain things that we take care of course, but our most and biggest argument for Santi as a brand and being, let's say, on the ecological side of producing a garment or a piece of a gear is it's a long-lasting product. When you buy a Santi dry suit, you buy it for years. You can service it, you can support it, you can buy a second-hand dry suit. So we support very much this longevity of using the gear, and that's something that is very ecological, because you don't dump it every second year and you buy a new one. Instead, you have one that you spend a lot of money for, of course, but then it serves you for many, many years and you can rely on this product. So, of course, we have, where we could, we reduce the plastic with the paper packaging. Although in some cases, it's very difficult for the diving business, because when it comes to transport and logistics, the paper doesn't always protect the product let's say, enough so that it reaches its destination without any harm, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but we do a lot of that, a lot of that thinking of how we can improve, and whenever we could, we exchange it with let's say paper packaging. We also try to. We don't use plastic bottles for our workers when it comes to water supplies and stuff like that. So
That's good.
we also are cooperating with a local company that is doing the responsible recycling of our products. So whenever we have, well, we give the paper and the plastic and electric parts. They are collected by a professional company that is later recycling it in a proper way, right? So so we are let's say probably not that advanced yet as we would like to be, but it's a part of our strategy to look into that more and more.
That's the main thing, because every little bit is an action that's helping the bigger cause, isn't it? So everybody's on that right road, and
sure.
As much as we can. So with technical diving, obviously it's advancing all the time. So do you kind of listen to your divers to then develop new dry suits as the range?
Yes, and it's not only dry suits, because we need to remember that Santi as a brand, we also have a very nice range of undersuits that we offer, and also what's I would say unique, we have heating system products.
Yes.
And this is like a let's say a tripod that works together very well, because a heating system vest on undersuit is something, it's a piece of gear that helps you to develop your passion for cold water diving much more at a different level already, right? So it's a big part of our business idea to give a diver a complete set of gear that will give you total freedom of diving in, let's say, very cold waters for as long as you can, right? Or want to. So we talk to the divers a lot during the dive shows. We talk to our distributors. Like I said, Tomek himself is a diver, very active one. So he talks to his fellow divers about what's needed, what's the next step. Okay, how can we do this? How can we improve that? Let's say recently we introduced a new battery pack that you use for your heating system. That is a complete innovation when it comes to the life of the battery itself and the power consumption from it. So I would say we have an R&D department at Santi, research and development, and they are getting tasks from Tomek, from the owner, all the time about thinking how to improve something, or how to think of something that could let's say facilitate certain actions underwater, right? So for example, we came up with a smart seal system. It's a system in a dry suit that you can exchange your seals very easily, but you can also use it for dry gloves. I would say it's extremely convenient. It's innovative. It's flexible, and it came from the need, right? It's not just okay, we need that, so we buy it from somewhere. We very often is that we invent our own things, right? So there is a lot of that.
I've tried your dry gloves on in the shop, and wow, very nice. I have to say, so warm and soft. And it's like, for anyone listening, you've got to try the Santi dry gloves on. They're awesome.
Yeah, and it must make it really exciting, because the actual divers are coming back and saying, I'd really like this, and then you can fulfill their needs as well.
Yes, and what I like in the diving industry in general is that the industry and the people around it and the community is very supportive. and sometimes forgiving, because sometimes you come up with something that doesn't really work in a wider range, right, of use. So we sometimes we had few cases like that when we had to rethink a certain product after the clients were giving their comments and the ways we could improve. So, and we do that, right? It's not that we say, okay, no, we know the best and this is how it should work, and we don't listen. So we improve. We listen to our service department notes saying, okay, listen, guys, we have an issue that appears here several times more than expected. Can we look into that? What could be the problem? How can we solve it, right? So we listen and talk to people a lot, and it's very useful to go to dive shows in that matter, because you talk to the actual divers yourself and you understand it much more, right? So whenever I travel around the world to visit my distributors, I come back from those trips with new ideas, with new, let's say, comments, with new inspirations, right, from different markets. So so that's what we try to do. We never try to copycat, to look, you know, at somebody else. We try to think of what we could do better for the divers themselves, and that's very, let's say, and that's very nice to work in a company and in the industry that is so supportive and willing to and looking forward to your products and waiting for them to be released, right? So that's very encouraging.
Yeah, well, it's good because it's kind of reciprocated, I guess, because you're listening to them and then they get a great product back that is going to make them very happy diving.
Yes. So yeah, that's important, of course. And I think in any industry that is connected to passion, to hobby, to sport, you need to be in a constant communication with the users, because otherwise, you know, you make this for them, right? It's something that needs to support their passion, and it needs to be functional, and it needs to improve their passion and the way that what they do, right? So we are, for example, now releasing, let's say, a new undersuit that we thought, okay, it's an undersuit that we might maybe not think it's like in the first need, but our divers, our clients, they want it, so we produce it, right? We make something great of it, because that's something people need. So this is how we very often respond to the need from the market.
And I suppose some of them will be your ambassadors. Happens to be some of our previous guests as well. So
quite a few of them.
Becky Kagan, Scott, Jill Heiner, Phil Short, Christine Grossart, Gemma Smith, Ian France, Joanna, and Lee Bishop. So
all our brand ambassadors, long time.
And we're very, you know, lucky in the UK because we have got some real technical, well-known divers that you know,
that's what I'm saying, that UK is more or less, I would say, a crib of technical cold water diving. So a lot of very good divers are from UK, in fact.
Yeah, that's good. But hopefully there'll be some youngsters, you know, coming up through, because we need to encourage more young people to get diving and, you know, progress.
Well, this is what I was going to say. They look modern, though, don't they? The suits look modern, the thermals look modern, and it does appeal. You think, wow, and it feels good quality when you actually feel the product. You think, wow, you know, there's a lot of thought, and you know, it feels good.
Okay, thank you. That's you know, that's how I don't think, you know, Santi will change the approach for never, right? So that's the way the company operates, and that's the way Tomek believes the company should be forever, and that's what it's for, right?
Again, if it works, don't break it.
Exactly.
So what advice would you have for someone who's thinking about maybe getting into the tech diving world, or maybe even a new diver, you know, they haven't bought a dry suit? What What sort of advice would you give somebody like that?
Well, if somebody thinks like I said, I would not connect technical diving to dry suit diving, because you can be a technical diver even in a wetsuit, right? But you can also be a sports recreational diver in a dry suit. So it all depends on if you like diving. If you really like diving and it gives you a lot of pleasure and you are eager to develop and to make it your passion, dry suit is a natural way to get into, because why suffer, right? Why being cold? And that's our mission, to tell them, okay, you can start even making an open water diving course already in the dry suit. You don't have to go through this phase of being cold, or unless you don't need that, of course. If you have very warm waters and you dive only in summer for a short while, of course, sometimes it doesn't make sense. But if you want to develop, it's the next stage to invest in a good dry suit, or in a dry suit that you can rent at the beginning, because we have a lot of programs like that with our distributors, with our dealers. We have demo centers, we have testing centers where you can come and say, okay, I would like to try. How is it in a dry suit? How do you feel? So I would advise that to try first, right? To understand what is it all about. And then make an appointment with one of our dealers to talk about about the needs, right? What do you need exactly? What type of dry suit? What kind of options I have, and what's included? And once you have the dry suit, you will just be able to dive longer and to dive through the whole year, right?
Yeah.
And that's exciting. You could go ice water diving. You could go. To go deeper when it's really cold. So, my advice for, let's say, a diver that would say, okay, I really like it and I want to try a dry suit. First, find a good dealer, take a test suit, try it on, feel it, and then as soon as possible to get your own. Because when you have the proper fitting, when you have everything adjusted just for your shape and silhouette, you feel no restrictions, right? So it's much more comfortable then, for sure.
Yeah, that definitely is good advice, and good way to go. So we have a number of set questions we ask our guests. So one of them from the beginning is, if you could take 3 people diving, so they don't have to be divers, but it's just taking them on a principle of a dive. They could be past, present. Who would you take and why?
And in your dry suits, of course.
I was thinking about this question, and I even talked to my husband, but my first and instant answer was, I would like to take my family, because I don't really care. I gave it a bit of a thinking, whether is there someone in the history or someone I know that I would like to take underwater. But the truth is that when you take someone underwater, you share the experience with those people, right? And this is something that you want to have with your closest ones. So my husband and my children are the ones that I would like to show them what's underneath. I would love to take them, I don't know, somewhere into Maldives or in where I didn't dive yet as well. So that's my dream, to go somewhere there, to Indonesia or Malaysia, so to see the diving there. And I would like to share it with them. My husband and my son are divers. They are also beginners like me. My daughter is still a bit afraid, but I would really love all 4 of us to go diving somewhere in a very, very beautiful place.
Nice one.
Yeah, that's a lovely answer.
Yeah.
And in Poland, is diving quite a popular sport to get into?
Yes, very much, very much. In fact, we have a lot of diverse countries. Well, Poland is a big country, but we also have very nice places to dive in. So we have a lot of lakes that are very clear. We have few quarries. We have even one mine. And we have the Baltic Sea. where the wrecks are very well preserved. So here from Gdynia, or from the, let's say, when you go a bit north to Łeba, you can have great dives, even in shallow wrecks with good visibility, especially in spring or early autumn. The visibility can be very nice, and there are a lot of very nice, attractive dive sites. So it's popular to dive in Poland, although I would say it's, I would say, more attractive for those who like to dive deep, cold, to see the wrecks, to be on this, let's say, on this upper level of exploration, right?
Yeah.
If you want to just enjoy your dive, looking at fish and some, you know, underwater life, there is not too much of that. Some fish in lakes.
Well, there's no surprise that you got someone like Lee Bishop on your books as an ambassador, who's a big wreck diver, and I know he's been wreck diving in the English Channel recently. But I know he's explored some of the wrecks in the Baltic, because you've got so much history around there, and there's some awesome wrecks for people to explore, deep, as you know.
For sure. So if somebody is looking for that, coming to Poland for wreck diving is really amazing. So we have this, Santi is involved, I would say, patronize a team of Baltic Tech divers. This is let's say a group of divers connected to diving in Baltic Sea, but let's say on an advanced level. So Lee Bishop or Phil Short or Ian France, now they are all part of that, let's say, team that sometimes connects together for those expeditions, and they exchange ideas. And we have this Baltic Tech conference every second year here in Poland that gathers a lot of divers. So it's really a nice community to come into if you are into this, let's say, more exploration diving style.
It's a small world, and as you said, community, and we're sponsored by Narked at 90. John and Brent, long-term tech divers, really from when rebreathers were like in their infancy, and who also know a lot of these divers who are your ambassadors. So they're all all know each other, the Phil Shorts and Lee Bishop.
If you look into the diving world, the world is very small.
Yeah.
A lot of people know each other, and they work together, and they choose the gear to the same gear. So it's all very much connected. That's for sure.
And that's why we're so proud to be sponsored by those guys as well, because that keeps us within the community as well. So that's really good. So the next question we've got for you is, what gets you out of your comfort zone?
Well, I think that a comfort zone is a good place. It's a good place when you feel good, right? When you feel fulfilled, happy, satisfied. So you feel good about yourself. In that case, a comfort zone is something you should stay in. That's my advice. But when it comes to my, getting out of my comfort zone, whenever I have an urge to do it, it's usually, I would say, a fear of losing interest, of being motivated, of, let's say, being, maybe not healthy enough, or losing my well-being, right? So that's when I have to go out of the comfort zone and look for something else. But that also gives you a bit of uncertainty. So I would say what gets me out of it is being worried to lose the opportunity or lose health, for example, right? So that's why I practice. I go, I don't know, riding a bike or whatever to take care of myself.
No, that's a good answer. Yeah. Covers everything. So our final question is, if you had a billboard
that you could put out there to the whole world? So it could be literally an image, a statement, a video, just something. What statement would you want to make to the world, and why?
Yeah, it was a tough question to answer. I thought about it. What would I like to tell all people around the world at one go? And considering what is happening right now in the world, we are in Poland, that is very close to Ukraine, meaning the war. We are in the world after the pandemic and what's happening right now in economics, and the new, let's say, arena of fighting between different companies and countries. And I think if I would like to say something to everyone is that kindness and goodwill and compromise will solve all problems, because being kind to each other is good for you when you are either in a small group, in a family, or in a bigger group of friends, in the business. If you talk to each other, if you try to find compromise, if you are willing to change something on behalf of getting somewhere, it would solve all problems, right? So the only thing that stops that is your own interests and your own selfishness that doesn't allow to break the wall, right? So that would be my sentence, that just be kind to each other and have faith and goodwill that this will solve problems for you.
Yeah, that's a very good answer. Yeah,
that is. Yeah, I like that.
A lot of people can learn from that. Yeah, no, well, that's been really good answers. So if anybody wants to, well, I'm sure they will now, want to look up Santi, where are their best places to go to find out more about the company and look at the product?
Well, surely the social media, because right now we have a very, very active new social media manager, Martina. She is a great diver as well. She's a very experienced social media manager for herself, for her own blog and her personality. But she's also now working with us for half a year now, or almost a year. And so Instagram, TikTok right now more and more, Facebook, of course. We have a lot of videos there, a lot of manuals, a lot of fun things to watch from the rest of the world, people delivering content to us about where they dive, what they do. Of course, the website where we have all the information about the products and the things we do apart. So but I would say social media and that's the main thing. You can find a lot of information about us.
Yeah, that's really refreshing, because we've had a lot of company representatives on, and it's always been look at the website, and going to social media is so much easier, isn't it? It's just
the website is right now something that people just look up when they need a real information about, for example, where to send my dry suit to a service, right? Okay, so you have that on the website. You want to read about the history. Okay, you go to the website, but everything that's going on in the fresh one, it's in social media, it's in Instagram. I would say Instagram right now is our main channel to communicate, with reels, with rolls, reels. I don't even recognize them, distinguish them, but
but you mentioned TikTok.
That
doesn't get mentioned on here. No one. You're the first to come on here and said that. You
have to be
TikTok.
there if you want to get to the young people, to the ones, let's say around 20. It's their main information channel. Whatever they look for, if they don't go to Google, they go to TikTok.
So true.
It is very true, and that is the way of the world. And it's progression, isn't it? And again, it's capturing a younger market so easily.
Yes, exactly. And it has a very wide let's say, range still of reaching the people around the world. It's still not so much blocked by the algorithm of, you know, when you go to Facebook these days, to go through with your message to the people, you just have to pay a lot of money to be visible, right? With TikTok, it's still easy.
Yeah.
It's still easy.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. It's been brilliant and been refreshing and yeah, really good. So no, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, what can we say? I've got to say thank you very much for Agnieszka.
Agnes.
Yeah, Agnes coming on.
Really
yeah, it's been a
enthusiastic.
fab, isn't it?
Yeah, so enthusiastic, and the passion of the company comes across, and the team behind it as well.
Now, we didn't mention the names, but obviously our local dive centre, Crystal Sea Scuba, they sell Santi dry suits now and thermals and the
Undersuits.
the thermal undersuits and the heated suits, and those gloves are awesome. I work outdoors, and I was thinking wintertime, God, just a pair of them would be awesome. They're great, and they've got the heat. You can heat them as well, so that all connects to the heated pack. But you feel the quality when you see the suits and the insulated thermals. You feel that. Yeah,
and I think, you know, just the whole interview with her kind of breathes quality, doesn't it? And adaptability and innovation. So it's definitely.
I nearly fell off my chair when she said TikTok. I was like, no, this is somebody who understands the power of social media.
Yeah, but I think that is one of that company, Santi, is probably one of the most active diving companies that we've had dealings with.
Yeah, there is, because I think of companies who we deal with and have social media people, and we don't hear from them, and it's very rare you see anything from them, apart from the occasional email.
Yeah,
and it's like, why are you not alive?
It's like, are you there?
Or they have ambassadors who
don't know they're ambassadors.
Well, one, they don't know they're ambassadors, and we've had to tell them, did you know you're ambassador? I'm like, oh no, I didn't know.
I wondered why I was getting these things.
They don't actually dive anymore, and they're still ambassadors, or they're not actually current on social media. Like, so I never understand this whole ambassador business, because surely if you're an ambassador, you're out doing stuff. When you look at, the people who they've got, they're out doing stuff. They're out there, and doing some amazing stuff.
And if you're an ambassador, you have got a duty and a commitment to that company.
You would think so. You would think so. Maybe we're being controversial, but maybe some of the companies we deal with can reply and say, hey,
we welcome any comments.
Because we're just being honest. Making an observation of our experiences dealing with some of these firms.
Yeah, but I think if you haven't heard of Santi, or you're thinking about driving a dry suit, owning a new dry suit, or looking at what they can offer, definitely go to your local dive centre if they're a Santi stockist, or just go to the website.
And I think the other important point that she made is that the suits, if you need them serviced, don't have to go back to Poland, because suits, things get lost in international transit, don't they?
Yeah, and that could be a real no for some people if they knew that they'd got a suit that had to go to Europe.
You change your suit, over a period. I think about mine, I've added to it and had it altered along the way, and people do. You get familiar with your suit to then lose it. So it's really good to hear that you don't have that. It's all dealt with in the UK or wherever you're buying your suit.
And basically, if you haven't got a dry suit, diving kind of stops, because most people don't have a spare dry suit, do they? So
no,
it's just,
and as she said, most a lot of people do prefer to dive in their dry suit all year round. Polly we've had this discussion with Polly about wetsuit, and she prefers to dive even in summer at Weybourne in her dry suit.
Yeah, and
Because
that
that's what
is
you feel comfortable in.
the whole thing of being comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why feel cold or don't like feeling wet?
No, it's been a really good chat, and that's been brilliant, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad we got the opportunity to talk to them.
Yeah. So look at the website, look at their social media, look them up on TikTok. We need to do more on TikTok. There's so many platforms.
Yeah, and then if you're old school, have a look at their website.
Yes, it's there.
That sounded a bit wrong, but no.
No, but it's true, isn't it?
If you prefer looking at websites.
The thing is, you do need a website. We need a website, and it's your shop window.
It is.
But you can't keep updating your website. So it's nice to have it there, and it's there, and it's out there.
Yeah.
But your social media is where it's all, what's happening today, what's happening yesterday.
Current news, isn't it? It is your broadcast channel, and that is
a bit like us. We're on the podcast. We were on the paddleboards yesterday, and quickly put a reel up and things like that. You can't do that to your website.
No.
If you did, your website would just get be all muddled and what have you.
Yeah, you've got to be hip and trendy and down with the kids.
A bit like me. I am hip and trendy, down with the kids. I say that because my daughter's out of earshot.
She's out of earshot.
Yes. So anyway, thanks for downloading this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Send us any questions you've got, and have you bought your Santi dry suit? What's been your experience?
Yes,
good and bad. It can all be fed back. And what have you got? There's several dry suits and undersuits, and let's hear from you. That'd be really cool.
Yep. And don't forget to have a look at our previous episodes. There's a whole catalogue of 155 now.
My goodness.
So just head over to our website. You can have a look at all of them there, or just go to your preferred podcast platform.
Yeah. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review if you listen to us on the iTunes, because that helps your buddy find us and spread the message.
Any questions you've got for either of us, drop us a DM and we'll quickly, obviously, communicate back.
Try. Yeah. Excellent. But for right now, I think that was
the BiG Scuba Podcast.
Now that does wrap up today's episode of the BiG Scuba Podcast. But if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button depending on what platform you are listening on. That way you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.